week, Thanksgiving week coming up. We'll be here for 3 days. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ LaSelva with you. Hey, look, we're looking for a new drug today to start the program, and I thought I had a show planned, but then I heard Max's update. Did the Gators win Saturday?
Yeah, they played basketball Friday night and beat Southern Illinois. I'm not sure about the football.
I'm going to have to change the show. Who knew? Who knew?
What a win.
What a on so many levels, what a great win for the Gators, and congratulations to them. And the story, we talked about the storyline. The storylines that came out of it that we thought were pretty amazing. So we'll certainly talk about that. But a great win for Florida, for Billy Napier. Got so many thoughts about that. That'll be our lead story today. So we'll talk all about that coming up today on the program. So certainly a lot of thoughts on college football now. The polls out. I think barring upsets, we kind of know the 12. By the way,
I would say unless
I sent out
unless
12.
we have another wild weekend.
I sent out 12, just thinking. Oh, here's what I think, and then I saw 8 other people send out the same 12. So that's
really?
The 12.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I mean, I would really think the order's different a little bit, but I think barring upsets this weekend.
Right.
Now, again, I'm picking Arizona State to win the Big 12. So if they don't win the game, it's not them. But
right.
So a lot of what I picked is based on who I think. By the way, I'm sure Kenny Dillingham's a good coach because he's turned that thing around. Brother needs to calm down. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude needs a Valium now, man. Did you see the end of that?
Intense,
Were you watching that?
I wasn't watching it live, but I saw on Twitter his meltdown.
I was actually watching it. JJ, did you see the Kenny Dillingham meltdown after the game?
Oh, I watched the game.
Yeah, I did too.
Listen, first off, before the meltdown, I thought it was really stupid play call.
What was
they
he
had
thinking?
7 seconds
Even
left.
Prisco was killing him.
Dude, he was on the 3-yard line.
Well, first of all, I didn't realize that the clock isn't done running until the ball hits something random out of bounds or the ground.
I didn't either.
So I'll give him the benefit of knowing that rule. But, the quarterback threw it with, 4 seconds left, and he still needed, another 4 to go off. And it was just dude, I knew when those kids started running on the field, I'm like, this doesn't seem – this is coming back, man. But, yeah, absolutely crazy. One of the coolest Saturdays in a long time. And this has been a season of great Saturdays.
You're right. Yes and yes. It's been a season of great Saturdays, and that was what a crazy Saturday it was. I will say this, and I want to get to Trevor. I want to get to the Gators. I want to get to all of it in a second. But I will say, and I did not care who won Oklahoma, Alabama, nor do I think this call necessarily determined the game. It was 24-3 at the time. But did you see the call?
It was brutal.
It's if Greg, and I have a lot of respect for Greg Sankey, but if Greg Sankey and whoever's
yes, he meets at SEC Media Days every year.
Yeah.
It's Josh. What? Not.
It's
Josh,
not Steve Shaw anymore.
Oh, that's who I thought.
Is
it
it still
was.
Steve Shaw?
I think it is Steve Shaw.
I thought they replaced him with somebody.
Maybe.
I think it's somebody new now. But whoever
there is a coordinator of officials.
Yeah. If somebody doesn't come out now and explain what happened, it's one of the. I thought the worst call I've ever seen was Florida Tennessee in 2004. When Jonathan Wade hit Dallas Baker and he hit him back, and remember, I thought that
and both happened right in front of the referee.
Bobby Moreau, the
wasn't like they missed the first one just because they weren't looking.
I thought that was the worst I've ever. This was the worst call I've ever seen. I mean, you denied a touchdown.
It's hard to argue
when the game was still could have been a two possession game, and an amazing play by the quarterback and the receiver, and in the sides for people that don't know what happened. Alabama scored a touchdown well after the play. The side judge very late threw a flag and said the receiver Ryan Williams was covered up, meaning you got to either be in the backfield or on the end of the line to be an eligible receiver. You got to be one or the other. Well, he was on the end of the line because the flankers, the 2 other receivers, were behind him. So you have to be either on the end of the line or in the backfield. He was on the end, and it was very clear. And I've heard. And shame on the SEC that there's been no. Have you seen a statement today?
There hasn't been.
JJ, have you seen anything?
No, the guy's name is John McDade, by the way.
That's who it is now, John McDade.
And if you remember what happened in the Texas-Georgia game where they're throwing stuff on the field, it's exact same crew.
Yeah, but this one now, they've got. If the
Which
SEC
means they'll have the SEC title game.
Yeah, they'll have the Iron Bowl and the SEC title
But
game.
if the SEC doesn't come out, I'm serious about this. If the SEC doesn't come out this week and talk about this, and it should be by today.
Right.
I mean, you can't hide your head in the sand on this one. Right. I know they protect officials and they don't want officials talking because they don't want them to be targets, and I get a lot of that. But if you don't come out on this one, This was unbelievably bad.
Particularly when he throws the flag after he sees it's a touchdown.
Yeah, well after it, right? And he was on the Oklahoma sideline.
I mean, that flag, honestly, if it's for that call, that's got to be on the ground. Like, as the receiver takes 2 steps,
right. And
because it's not like you're waiting on to see what happens on the play to determine whether it's a foul or not.
And you cannot have and I can't say this with enough fervor. You cannot have a replay system and have a play like that not be reviewable. You can't do it. Everything should be reviewable like that. You can't. There's no possible way. Get rid of the replay system and the review system if that was not reviewable, because it was an easy fix. Well, it was a very easy fix. You go to the replay official. You say no, he was not covered up. It's a touchdown. That's such an easy fix, and that's why plays like that, egregious errors, are why you have it.
Well, and again, if it had really made a difference in the outcome, imagine the uproar. Because, I mean, let's just be honest. Alabama is the league darling.
Yes.
They're the last team you would think this would happen to. And so, again, why the NFL has done a great job with their invisible guy in the box that's alerting the refs. No, it was a fumble, or no, it was. Right. Yes, they had 12 minutes on the field. Like, it's weird because it's almost like the NFL doesn't want to acknowledge that they've put it in. I don't know why. I mean, I appreciate it as a fan. And instead of having to, go through the review process and things like that, they just signal down and say, you got this one wrong. It should be this. I don't know why the SEC can't, in college football in general, but, certainly the SEC at least for their conference games, can't have that in place. I mean, moving forward, because it's really benefiting the NFL, and those are professional officials. So those are the highest level guys. And I almost every game see at least one instance where the official in the booth has radioed down and said, nope, it's this. And it just makes it so much more seamless. And it's weird because then the announce crew, it's almost like they don't want to highlight it. And I don't get why. I mean, all fans want is a fair result. And so, I don't understand it, but yeah, I would think the SEC absolutely is going to have to issue a statement, preferably with some video there to sort of explain it. And, but my thinking is it can be explained because it was a bogus call.
Yeah. So something has to happen there. All right. We're going to talk some college football in just a bit. Trevor Lawrence practiced today. I'm going to guess he's going to play.
I would think
if you were just going to mail in, I said mail in, that's not fair. But if you just were going to make the medical decision that let's go ahead and have the surgery and move on and be healthy come next year, which was what some people were wondering, he wouldn't have practiced today. You don't practice again if that's what you're going to do.
The only thing I can think of is that they wanted him to take like 2 weeks, then throw today, coming out of the bye week to see how it felt. And if it doesn't feel amazing, shut him down. But again, the whole thing with Trevor not playing, it all comes down to, is it going to require surgery? If it's not going to require surgery, if Dr. Kaplan is able to tell them, look, yes, he's got an injury, but it's nothing that's going to require surgery, then obviously he should be out there playing. I mean, he's the leader of the team. My thinking was, from a long-term standpoint, if you're not sure, if you think there's a possibility that it might need surgery to be corrected, then you're 2-9, have the surgery now so that it doesn't impact at all your preparation for the 2025 season.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see. My guess is he's going to play. And again, now again, I haven't heard any insight. I even called around a little bit today. I don't think anybody knows. I don't think they're holding out. I even think when Doug Peterson said, we'll keep you posted, I don't think he knows and is holding out.
Well, they probably need to see, over the next 24 hours. I don't know how extensive his work was today, but, you need to see how is it going to feel tomorrow,
right?
After although it's not his throwing shoulder, I get that, but still just, being out there and going through it. So, but yeah, I mean, normally if you're practicing on, what this would be a bonus Monday, yeah, you're going to be active for Sunday.
Yeah, so that'd be my guess. The other thing is, if you're the Jaguars, but not just the Jaguars, maybe the Colts too, are you going to kick yourself at the end of this thing?
How could you not already?
If you get hot and the Texans go into the dumpster fire?
which is happening as we said it would.
Well, they're 7-5 with a really difficult final 5 games,
and they've lost 4 of 6.
And the hard part of the schedule is just coming up. And I'm not talking about here. Hopefully the Jags win here, but I mean the tough part of the schedule is just. I mean that they literally have maybe not 8 and 9 because they'd have to lose 4 out of 5, but they got 9 and 8 written all over them, don't you think? I think
without a doubt.
I think that season has 9 and 8 written all over it.
And they're not getting healthier. Their offensive line is atrocious. Obviously, Diggs is out for the year. They could sustain more injuries. Now, it will help them. You know, we've mentioned this. They have a bye after they come here Sunday.
Right.
So this is their 13th game in 13 weeks. And shame on the Jaguars coming off a bye if they can't win this game. They should have beaten Houston in Houston. So if they can't win this game, then what are you doing? I mean, what are you doing if you can't beat the Texans in Jacksonville as you're coming off a bye and they're playing their 13th game in 13 weeks? But yeah, to your point, once they come off of that bye, home against Miami, who has definitely found life. Tua is playing at a much higher level, coming back from the injury. They got Waddle involved yesterday, which was great to see. So the Dolphins will be a tough out, even in Houston. Going to Arrowhead, I mean, yes, we saw the Panthers nearly pull off the upset, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say Kansas City will be ready for that game. Then you host the Ravens, who, I mean, they're
going to find it at some point.
Well, I mean, they've won 7 games. I mean, yeah. I mean, the Ravens. We'll see how they do tonight, but yeah, I mean, I would pick Baltimore right now to go into Houston and win, and then you go to the Titans, who just beat you in your house. Right. So if you're the Texans, I mean, really, to be honest, they could lose out because I think there's a really good chance the Jaguars beat them Sunday. Right. I mean, it's almost like, to me, it would be a sign that the Jaguars have given up all hope if they can't win this game. Right. I mean, all you've told us is you're livid about how the first 11 games went. You were tired. You needed a break, which you got. You're playing a team that hasn't had its bye yet, a team that tried to hand you the game earlier this season in Houston, and you couldn't take it because Trevor Lawrence missed 2 huge throws, among other many Jaguar mistakes. I mean, to me, this is like a litmus test for Doug Peterson and the staff and the players. Like, this is a game you've got to – everything about the NFL says this is a game you should win. So shame on them if they can't keep Houston reeling.
Texans are 7-5. Well, if they lose out – they finished 7-10.
7-10.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. But I could see, and I'd actually be surprised if they go 1-4. But I could certainly see 9-8. In fact, if you asked me to guess right now, that'd probably be my guess.
I think they'll be lucky to win 9 games.
And so then you're kicking yourself if you didn't get there. But again, we'll talk some Jaguars coming up in a bit. Bucky Brooks at the top of the hour.
I mean, they need to watch the Colts.
Yeah. And the Colts too.
The Colts are 2 games back of them. They still have the Pats left, and I think the Giants and somebody else really bad.
Look, if you're the Titans, you're sitting there saying, "Guys, we're in this. We just beat them in their house. Yes, we're 3-8, but I mean, Tennessee's going to look at it and say, we still have 2 games against the Jaguars. Those are 2 wins. That's what they're going to be saying in Nashville. So, I mean, really, everybody is still in it. I mean, the Jaguars are mathematically in it. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's really, to your point, Frank, it really is unfortunate. They couldn't just be like 4-7.
That's what I said today. I said if they were,
and at least have a chance, a decent chance.
I said earlier today with some people, if they were 4-7, even though that's 3 games under, if they were 3-7 2 years ago and won the division. If they were 4-7, I said right now with the schedule they've got, I think that in the way the Texans are reeling a little bit. So we'll talk more Jaguar talk coming up. Let's take a break. Let's start with the Gators. A gigantic win over Ole Miss. What does it mean for the Florida program, for Billy Napier? What does it mean moving forward? How important now is it to finish the job? All that coming up in a bit. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If offense and defense don't win the game, sometimes it's up to the special teams.
And here comes the field goal team. They've got to hurry.
After the game, catch the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game. Live generously and life will treat you royally on 1010XL.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your holiday season stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. And check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus. For a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 5-point home underdog to the Texans. The over-under is 43.5 points. The Gators are a 15-point road favorite against the Knowles. And the Canes, an 11-point road favorite against Syracuse. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle. It's the time of year all our customers love. At Garber Auto Mall, every 2024 must go. Take advantage of thousands in discounts on all new Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Ford. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle. Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
When you step into a courtroom, you're stepping into a fight. Someone wins, someone loses. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we've got the experience you want in your corner if you or a loved one suffer a personal injury or a wrongful death. We're here to fight for you. So if you get hit, hit back with Hastings Injury Law, offices Jacksonville. Find us on the web at 904hitback.com or call our 24-hour helpline, 904-HITBACK.
Greetings from Daytona, where a band of dreamers took a strip of beach and turned it into a proving ground. The Great American Race, where year after year, greatness is the destination.
Drivers, start your engines, let's go!
So book your experience and soak in 500 miles of history and tradition. The Daytona 500, February 16th, 2025. Secure your seats now at Daytona500.com.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals, dine in with beer and wine, and delivery at salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
Septic emergencies stink. Get your ducks in a row, and that's where we come in. We are Duck Duck Rooter, the #1 septic company in the region.
When you're stuck, call the duck. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your next round of golf with us. Our welcoming atmosphere and love for golf keep our friends coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS. IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say, "What? Huh?"
I'm so over this.
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this.
Call State Farm agent Margie Williams in Jacksonville at 296-2500.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Doors, please. Time now for the SkyLife Elite Take Flight Moment of the Week. SkyLife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
Motions to left, Lagway to throw, back corner, right side of the end zone, caught by Badger, got a foot down, yeah, touchdown, Gators! They got one-on-one over their partner, and Badger gets the 8-yard touchdown reception, 6-0 Florida.
That was Sean Kelly on the call. Does a terrific job. That is our SkyLife Elite Take Flight Moment of the Week, and we certainly thank our friends from SkyLife Elite. Boy, oh boy, that ball was what a throw by Lagway, Hays, into the right corner of the end zone. He's so good at letting balls go when he's getting hit. That's our SkyLife Elite Take Flight Moment of the Week.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be the last one with Mr. DJ Lagway involved in it. And, it's obviously an incredible throw, great ball placement, and Badger did an outstanding job to get his foot in. Again, give our friends at SkyLife Elite a call, 490-9332. Look, if you're planning on going maybe a bowl destination, maybe a Jaguar road trip.
Absolutely.
But yeah, get some friends together. It's more affordable than you would think, and they'll treat you great.
The storylines are amazing from this game. If you think about it now, and we all know it, the think about it for a second. About 4 weeks into the season, Gator Twitter pretty much had decided that the 4 greatest coaches in the history of college football were Saban, Rockne, Bud Wilkinson, and Lane Kiffin.
That's right.
Okay, that was the Mount Rushmore. Okay,
Yep.
Kiffin was the greatest coach in the history of the sport. And all Gator fans cared about. I can't tell how many Gator fans even will tell me nothing's going to work unless we get Kiffin. The only way we can survive this is if we get Kiffin.
I had already started watching Ole Miss games.
Just to see what they look like.
Yeah.
So now Billy Napier just beat Lane Kiffin after beating Brian Kelly. After beating Brian Kelly with a first-round draft pick quarterback, and Billy Napier beat him with a freshman playing on one leg. He now beat Lane Kiffin with probably a second-round draft pick playing quarterback, is a 6-year senior who played great, by the way, until the end of the game, with a freshman quarterback playing on one leg. It was one of the most exciting wins the Gators have had in many years, and I talked to people that were there, and they said it rivaled 2019 long run by P. Ryan against Auburn. It rivaled Jarvis Moss blocking the kick. I heard it was insane. Did you talk to anybody that was there?
And I think a pristine day like you had talked about. It's not going to be super hot, but a pristine day. And I think Florida fans are just over the moon for this team. As shocking as that is.
If you think of the storyline that everybody wanted him fired. Many of us thought he was going to be fired. Scott Strickland, you can rip Scott Strickland all you want. Scott Strickland came out and said, this is our coach. And even though they lost that Texas game because they played without a quarterback and weren't very good that day, that has fueled them to 2 straight wins. This football team now, if they beat FSU, and I'm going to talk about that game in a second, but if they beat Florida State, he will have gone 7-5 against what many people were calling the toughest schedule in college football history. 7-5 while losing his senior quarterback midseason.
Even before then.
And correct.
About a third of the way through.
And then, good point, and losing his freshman phenom quarterback for a game and a half against the 2 best teams on the schedule.
And his top 3 corners.
And a lot of other players, too. He's a great receiver, great cornerbacks. And they will have gone 7-5. Now, I want to be careful. I don't want to be 3 weeks ago we thought the guy was the worst coach in the history of the sport. Now I'm making him Newt Rockne. He's not that, okay? There's still some flaws. But the one thing that jumped off the page for me, and there's so many storylines here, man, do they play hard for him. Man, do they play hard. The question I've got, and I won't know the answer to this, is how did Cam Jackson and Caleb Banks, particularly Caleb Banks, go from invisible to Caleb Banks might be a first rounder. He's got to come out now. I was hoping he'd come back. He's got to come out now.
Absolutely.
And the way that defense is playing, was there really truth to the story Matt Hays tells that some of the players went in and said, Coach, we need to simplify?
I don't know about the specifics of that.
But something like that.
But
some of the players went in.
Absolutely. After in the first bye week, it was Napier's made it very clear.
The players,
What do we need to do? Give us your input.
And so now Florida finds a way to win against Ole Miss, knocks Ole Miss out of the playoff picture, beats LSU first. Now all of a sudden, this is a Florida team probably playing as well as anybody in the country other than maybe the elite. I'm not going to say they're Oregon or Ohio State or Georgia yet, although they played Georgia awfully tough. But if you take away Georgia, Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Texas, maybe 2 or 3 others, would you almost pick them on a neutral field against the rest of the field?
I wouldn't, because I still think some of this is LSU's got real problems in their culture, and Ole Miss is a choking program.
Yeah, and
so
probably,
that's why I
agree.
still,
Fair point.
I mean, as great as these 2 wins are, I still don't think, like if Florida went to Penn State, I think they're getting handled.
Yeah, okay. So good point. Fair point.
Really?
Yeah. Well, but it's at least a discussion point.
Oh, I would love to see that game.
Yeah,
I think Florida would beat Penn State.
I don't know if I'd say
I think Florida would beat a lot of teams right now, man.
Well, that was my point. Is I would think if Florida played anybody other than the 5 or 6 elite, at least it would be a conversation. That's the point.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I might pick Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. I love the way they're playing.
You think Penn State would win the game?
I think. I think you just have to be kind of careful.
Yeah,
I
agree.
They're 2 great wins.
Yeah, and by the way, they got outgained in both games. Here's another by the way.
I mean, Ole Miss missed like 3 touchdowns by like a millimeter
and a field goal. Yeah, and so
got a lot of guys hurt.
Yeah, and right. So, but let me say this: if Steve Spurrier or Urban Meyer had won those 2 games with a freshman quarterback, with some really good play calls down the stretch, with far fewer yards, but enough yards to make key plays, we'd be saying that's why we have the best coach in the country. We would be.
Oh, yeah.
Because those games were well coached. I didn't agree with that. I still don't love his offense, but I think for the most part, he got about every drop out of those guys the last 2 games. So now here's Florida at 6-5. So totally has turned it around. You said he got a bunch of recruits today. Like they're flipping guys left and right.
3 guys flipped to them today.
So mostly 3 stars, but still
one
guys.
really blue chip linebacker that was committed to USC. He's from Florida.
Yeah.
But was committed to the Trojans and flipped, and then a 3-star receiver, 3-star offensive lineman.
So I'm going to get to the Florida State-Florida game in a minute. But before I do, the significance of that win for Florida might be the big, and you can see that's why Billy Napier was so emotional after the game. He knows he was the guy that was almost fired.
Right.
He knows it. And now it all came full circle that he now might have a chance to coach his team without fighting his own fans on Twitter. I guess that's the point.
Yeah, without a doubt. I even saw Chris Doering interviewing Billy Napier today on Twitter, and he asked him, Doering asked Napier, do you have is there any hey,
I
told you so. And he was like, no, because I understand it. The way we were playing in September, we were not good, and fans had every right to be disappointed, which I appreciate with Napier, because sometimes when this happens with coaches, they do get an arrogance that, like, how dare you guys doubt me? And, and so I appreciate that Napier can have the self-awareness to know that he was on his way to getting fired, and justifiably so, but he has picked it up. He has obviously built a culture that is impenetrable, and looking at where this team now goes, it's exciting. And look, they are playing really well. I'm not, you're right. Outside of the elite, could they go and contend? Yeah. I mean, I just think that they have lost 5 games. So it's one of those things that I try to temper it. But look, I mean, we thought this program was headed to a complete restart.
4 wins.
And not making a bowl game. And now to have this surge, and it all comes down to DJ Lagway. I mean, you have to give Billy Napier. I mean, he found this kid in Willis, Texas, that was a 5-star. Napier concedes. Why did we get him? We were the first ones to him. We identified him early, and that really helped. But there's no way DJ Lagway would have come to Florida. There's nothing connecting him here. And Napier was able to go into Texas and pull out arguably the player of the year, and then get him ready to play way earlier than what they anticipated from a starting standpoint. And the kid is phenomenal. I mean, I'll say this again, because I keep waiting for this stat to change. But Lagway against Ole Miss was 10 of 17 for 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. So he has 180 passing yards on 10 completions. So again, DJ Lagway, as we go into the final week of the regular season, he is averaging 18.7 yards per completion. If he had enough attempts, and he's close, he's got 135, so he needs probably another 20, 30 more to get on the board there. He's averaging 18.7 yards per completion. The leader is at 17. Jackson Dart is at 15.9, who's running one of the most explosive offenses in the country. And Cam Ward, who might win the Heisman, is at 14.1. He's at 18.7 yards of completion, and he's a true freshman and got out of 2 or 3 sacks on Saturday. And again, when he hit the play to Badger, completely sets a tone. It's early second quarter. You've taken the lead. You've drawn first blood, and you've made Ole Miss nervous. And then that led to Ole Miss melting down with the missed opportunities, the muffed punt, the things that we thought might be in the Rebels, because this isn't a game they're used to being in, where everything, all the pressure was on Ole Miss.
Yeah, 2 or 3 things about Lagway, and I'm going to get something else in a moment. The most impressive thing about him, and again, he's got a lot of growth to show. And by the way, I tweeted this too, he's playing on one leg. So the things he's going to be able to do, zone reads, scramble plays, naked bootlegs. And I'm not making him a running quarterback, but 4 or 5 times. Look at Jackson Dart. 4 or 5 times made big runs. Lagway can't do that now because he's playing on one leg. Imagine what he'll be when he can do that. The most impressive thing about DJ Lagway, and it all goes together with the deep accuracy, is how poised he is when things break down around him. Part of it's how strong he is.
His ability to evade the sack.
Yeah, evade the sack and stay strong and get the ball out, but he doesn't get flustered. When it's all collapsing around him, the sidearm throws, the throws when he's getting hit, to your point, JJ, avoiding the sack, that's what stands out. He looks like an injured, bad leg, 5th-year senior finishing up his career because he never looks rattled. The never looking rattled is even the one quarterback sneak that they called timeout. The way he handled that, I don't know if you remember the play or not. He waited and ran out. I mean, so there's a poise about him. So, but I will tell you, with all due respect to Lagway, and he may be the reason for all this, he's a big part of it, I cannot figure out how they suddenly are a mid-'80s Florida defense, how they are suddenly a mid-'90s Florida defense. Okay, Shane Titter playing the better players. Okay, maybe they changed their scheme a little bit. But Caleb Banks is playing as well as any defensive tackle in the country. Those ends, Tyreek Sapp is playing as well as any rush end. I mean, the way they're playing on defense, and maybe that's what Mickey Andrews told me one time, the longtime defensive coordinator at FSU. He said, "Listen," he said, "Frank, what I'm not going to do is confuse them. I got better players than the guys trying to block me. Just make sure they know where to go. Make sure they play free and easy." And I wonder if that's happening, but it's an amazing thing. Now,
and particularly to lose Gates on like the second play of the game,
right?
Who's been one of your best defensive players.
Right.
I mean, once that happened, in Ole Miss coming off a bye week, I was like, oh, this is getting ready to be really ugly.
And they never batted an eye. I thought 18 was replacing Gates. Billy said afterwards it was 0, the kid from Jacksonville.
Yeah, Denson.
Denson is the kid that went in and replaced Gates and played great.
And, I mean, Thornton is playing, 15 tackles, 2 picks.
Yeah, 2 picks. Right, and the 2 picks weren't easy. You see, they said he threw it right to him. Yeah, we still had to go catch it while falling down both times,
I will say, Saban made the comment about Auburn on game day about I coached at that place 17 times, and I'm convinced it's haunted.
Yeah.
That pass, the dart through, how that ball hung for as long as it hung. If you watch the final 5 feet of that ball.
Right.
It's almost like there's wind pushing it up. I mean, it just stayed in the air
long
for Thornton to get there and secure the catch.
So, but here's what I will tell you. Final thing, and then we'll get to some other SEC. We got Bucky to talk Jags at the top. You have to finish the job. All of it. Florida would almost be better off playing a 5-6 FSU team as a 4-point road favorite than a really bad 2-9 team as a 15-point road favorite. Because if you lose this one, the momentum's gone.
Yeah,
it's all. Hang on, let me finish.
Yeah,
if you lose the game, the momentum's gone. I wouldn't think FSU can beat them. I would think Florida will handle FSU. But back to the point.
If you lose this game, it's a total disaster.
Yeah, it erases everything you've done.
Well, yeah, because everybody will say what I just said. That LSU isn't bought into Brian Kelly.
Right.
So they beat a toxic team in LSU. And Ole Miss is the all-time champion of, there's something riding on this game.
Right.
Let me play awful and lose it.
And you also bail Mike Norvell out. And his season is saved after that.
That's right. Because if you're If you're FSU, it's been one of the worst seasons in school. Maybe the worst season in school history. I know they were
expectations.
Yeah, I know they're 0-10 and 73.
This has to be the worst season.
But this might be the worst season in school history. But the one chance they can't save face. But if I'm an FSU fan, I think, listen, it's been a disaster. But if we can beat the Gators for a fourth straight time, third straight time, if we can beat the Gators for a third straight time, ruin their Cinderella finish, end the season having won 2 in a row. That'll mean Luke Kromenhoek did something, so we feel better about our guy. So that's what they're thinking. And again, I don't think they can beat Florida. I think the gap between the two teams is too significant, like it has been FSU and most of the teams they've played. But you got to finish the job, and I expect that they will finish the job. But I mean, that's because if you do, if you finish the job, if you beat, it doesn't matter what you beat it by. If you win the game, now you're 7-5, 3 straight wins. You did beat Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin, and Mike Norvell. Say what you want about Norvell now, but he was the hottest thing going last year, okay? Right. So you beat those 3 to end. You're going to a bowl. The recruiting signing days in between those two, you now don't have to you don't have the biggest hurdle you've had, and that's your own people. You now don't have to recruit against your own people on social media. The biggest challenge he's had is recruiting against Gator fan on Twitter. And now one more win, and that's over. Now, it may come back one day, but it's over. An amazing win for Florida. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about the college football playoff. I want to talk about where I think it's headed, where the teams are, a thought or two about the SEC. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This November, Nimnik Chevrolet is honoring the brave men and women who served our country. Nimnik is proud to announce their partners with K9s for Warriors. With every vehicle purchase, you're helping provide highly trained service dogs to military veterans and supporting the K9s for Warriors mission. And this month, as a token of our appreciation, Nimnik Chevrolet is offering $1,000 military appreciation discount on select new Chevrolet models. So who makes your purchase go further for veterans? Nobody but Nimnik. And oh, by the way, that red tag sales event is back at Nimnik. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado or enjoy rates as low as 0% financing. That's right, 0% and no payments for 90 days. on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnik's got the largest inventory on the ground ready for you to explore. So you want great deals? You want a dealership that truly respects the military? You want to head to Nimnik. Head there today. Nobody but Nimnik.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. With so many messages, we know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. We'll help you find doctors to get you better, and we'll work hard to maximize any recovery. Visit our website and look at our reviews to see how we've helped people just like you make this important decision. Harrell & Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. Our Showtime 2-Day show is back for this week, this Friday from 12 to 7 p.m. with our cast of vendors selling all sorts of cards. And then Saturday, it'll be 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'll see you after Thanksgiving. It's Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Post-Game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Imagine a place where it's always sunny, drinks are ice cold, and the food's bursting with flavor. Welcome to Hurricane Grill and Wings. Today's forecast: crispy wings, frothy beers, big burgers, and seafood tacos. Find your nearest spot at hurricanewings.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Let me tell you a little something that dawned on me last week. Awaken 180 isn't just about weight loss. Obviously, that's the main goal. It was for me anyway. Other people see me now, they comment, hey, you're looking great. I tell them it's Awaken 180, and they ask more questions. My answers are simple. When you start eating better, when your body starts operating more efficiently, your numbers, I'm talking about your medical numbers now, they're going to start to look better. I went to my doctor's last week to get a biomedical screening. They check out everything. Guess what? My good cholesterol is in the right range. My bad cholesterol is in the right range. Whatever the heck triglycerides are, they're in the right range as well. And it's all thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. Have a goal, maybe goals, plural. Awaken 180 can lay out the roadmap to help you reach them, like they've done with all of us here at 1010XL. Call 844-346-1800 or schedule your consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Everything about the game has changed, except for the most important thing. What you have inside. It is what drives the game. It refuses to be ignored. It sweats everything, turns an athlete into a legend. Gatorade, is it in you?
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Are the company's Zoom calls getting boring? Might be a good time to order some new logo caps or temporary tattoos. Check them out online at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
During the bye last week, Doug Peterson was asked if any changes would be made. Sure enough, at this morning's press conference with Coach Peterson, the question was asked almost immediately, to where he responded with this.
Yes, nothing that I'll share at this time. And I personally think that, just to be a little bit more clear on that, it's sort of, I say that to say this, that a lot of these are in-house, and these are things that we focus on as a staff and as a team, and I just don't think they need to be in the open right now.
Although changes have been made, the team is deciding to keep it within the building and not let outside distractions affect the decision that was made over the last 6 games of the season. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show, with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Frangie Carlyon, La Selva with you. So it looks like, I would think now, barring upsets, it is these, here are your 12. Oregon, Georgia, if the conference championships, by the way, go the way you think they're going to go, that could change too. Oregon, Georgia, Miami, Arizona State. You could say Texas instead of Georgia because you think Texas is going to beat them. I think Texas will beat A&M this week, so I think it'll be Georgia and Texas in the game. I think Miami is going to beat SMU in that game, so I got Miami here. But I got Oregon, Georgia, Miami, Arizona State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas, Penn State, Tennessee, Indiana, SMU, Boise State. That's what I think the 12 will be. No, and that's me assuming Miami will beat SMU in that game. That's me assuming that Oregon and Ohio State will play in that game, and one will be 1 and one will be 5. That's me assuming that Georgia and Texas are going to play in that game, and one will be 2 and one will be 7. The rest of it, I think, is pretty much set up.
So who were the 2 schools that you left at home? Like who were the toughest cuts?
The toughest cut would be Clemson if they get to 10-2. I think that's probably the toughest cut.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They're favored by 2 at home against South Carolina.
Yeah, if they get to 10-2,
and that's a nice win if they get it.
Yeah, if they get to 10-2, but I mean, I can't see anybody here that I would bump for one of those teams. That doesn't mean these teams are better, but I can't see it. I think based on here's where I'm going with the conversation. Hays, has the SEC, at least while it's at 12, erred by making their league so good? Because most of us, and we're SEC snobs, and I'll preface it with that, but not just us. Most people think there are a handful of these SEC teams that would beat Indiana. Now, we might be wrong. Indiana might be one of those teams. It looks that way until you play them, and then you don't beat them. I get that. But by loading up the schedules so difficult, in such a difficult way, the SEC is going to have fewer teams in the Big Ten. Well, nobody thinks the Big Ten is better than the SEC. Yet they're going, if this plays out this way, and I think it's going to, they're going to have more teams in the SEC.
Because you have 4 Big Ten, 3 SEC?
Yes, which I think, and by the way, I read everybody else has the same thing. So did the SEC, based on a 12-team playoff, did they make their league too strong?
Well, I mean, the league is definitely too strong to always count on getting 4 spots. So, again, this may just be a year where it didn't fall your way in the final couple weeks. And, I would still say getting 3 is still a pretty good number for a conference to get. And, yes, the SEC and it, measures itself against the Big Ten and vice versa. Yeah, the Big Ten's going to have more for this year. But I could see it next year where the SEC has 5 and the Big Ten has 3 or 4 and however it shakes out. I think it's just the way that this year went. Again, I think the best thing for the SEC and Big Ten to do would just be to split off and go do their own thing, keep all the money, and determine their national champion through a playoff that way. But could this make the SEC, want to push more for 16,
which is where I think it'll go.
Which is probably what'll happen.
I think you'll see. I think if this happens a year or two, because the belief is, look, Alabama and Ole Miss have only themselves to blame. They were not going to play in the championship game. They were both going to wind up. I don't think, or maybe Alabama was going to be in the game actually. But the point is, don't lose to Oklahoma and Florida, two teams with mediocre records. That's that. But the SEC,
in addition to losing, if you're Alabama, to Vandy,
correct? Yeah. So they have no one to blame. But I mean, Ole Miss, good point, because Ole Miss, you can say, wait a minute, we lost a Florida team that would beat most of these Big Ten teams. Well, you also lost
Kentucky, who's the second worst team in the SEC this year behind Mississippi State.
So you have only yourself to blame. But the point to this is, where we have gone or where we have stayed is record trumps strength of schedule. You wondered if that would happen with a 12-teamer. Record trumps strength of schedule. Indiana with one loss is going to trump any team with 2 or 3 losses, even if those teams played brutal schedules and Indiana didn't. And I wasn't sure where that would land. I wasn't sure once we got to 12. I wasn't sure you might see a 3-loss team that played a brutal schedule ahead of a 1-loss team that didn't, but it doesn't look like that's where we're going.
Yeah, and again, this week, it doesn't look like there's going to be a curveball. It's college football. It's the last week of the regular season.
There's always a curveball.
Something's coming.
Yeah.
Miami's losing to Syracuse.
Something.
I'm telling you.
Or like South Carolina will beat Clemson,
right?
And then South Carolina is going to be like, what about us? I mean, and so Indiana's not going to lose. That would be stunning.
Purdue's like FSU level.
Right. Purdue's awful, but but something could certainly happen that changes things up, and so we'll see. So maybe the SEC still gets 4 in, but certainly the SEC would be the greatest beneficiary of it expanding to 16, because the SEC is always going to have 6 or 7 teams that are like 9-3 or better. Like that's just how this league is. And so, yeah, I mean, the more it expands, the more it's going to benefit the SEC. But, I mean, look at it this way. If it was the old model, the SEC might not get 1 in. If Texas, let's say Texas loses to Texas A&M,
right,
who then turns around and beat Georgia in the SEC title game, I don't think the SEC would get anybody in the 4. I mean, maybe Tennessee would come up enough, but they've lost 2 games. So, I mean, I think it just, if you're Greg Sankey, if they get 3, I'm sure there'll be some disappointment, but I think that's an outlier. I think most years they're going to get 4. I understand why he wants the next one to be mandated that the SEC gets 4. I don't think you can do that. I think you have to let it play out. Yeah, so,
it'll be interesting. I will say this.
I do hope the SEC doesn't really go away from, like, because I could see this. I could see if the SEC only gets 3 in and they feel like they weren't really rewarded for strength of schedule, then, yeah, they'll tell Florida, hey, buy your way out of that Miami game next year.
Yeah, right.
They'll tell Georgia, hey, buy your way out of or get out of
whatever.
Don't schedule a kickoff classic game again, because it's not doing us any good. We know our conference schedule is going to give us enough points to easily get in the committee's eyes. So just schedule your rivalry game, and then schedule 3 total cream puffs.
Yeah, like a lot of these teams, like
the Big Ten's done.
Yeah, right.
Like Michigan did last year on their way to winning the national title.
Penn State.
Like Ohio State and Penn State did this year.
Right, that's right.
And Indiana, I mean, I get them scheduling cream puffs because
they're Indiana.
They're Indiana.
Yeah,
they should schedule cream puffs.
But that's what I wondered. Is that what? First of all, you never go to 9 games now in the conference, and secondly, do you schedule, if you're Florida, instead of scheduling UCF and USF and FSU and Miami, do you schedule Is it?
Yeah, I mean, you'll always play FSU.
Is it FSU, Charleston Southern,
Furman,
Akron,
and Wofford?
Furman? Yeah, that may be where it goes,
which is a shame.
And that's my point. But or get to 16 teams. Yeah,
correct. Or the SEC and Big Ten.
Yeah,
will just basically at some point.
But that's further away.
Yes.
I mean, for the here and now, do you? I mean, starting right out of the gate in the next year or 2 years, whatever, do you schedule weaker teams, or does the tournament grow? It's one of the two. Because if the tournament doesn't grow, the SEC, if this happens 2 or 3 times, and again, the SEC, the teams have only themselves to blame because they lost to teams they shouldn't have. But it is more NFL-like. It is more when you've played. It's easier to lose to a bad Oklahoma team when you've played Tennessee and Georgia and all these other. That's how the NFL is.
And you know that Oklahoma roster has blue chip recruits all over it.
Right. Well,
yes, it's a 5-loss Oklahoma team, but they probably have more talent than
they
a
have
lot of
44. I think I heard today. Blue chip players.
Yeah,
the Sooners do.
Yeah.
So
they're like you said, they have like 4 or 5 losses.
Like Kentucky probably has one of its most talented teams. They're next to last in this league.
And if you're Ole Miss, you finally make the playoff. It's the biggest year in your history, or certainly since the Johnny Vaught years, and you feel great about yourself. But you still got to go into the swamp, okay? That's not going into Kinnick Stadium at Iowa, bro.
Right.
Okay, you're going to the swamp, okay? And that's the difference. And the swamp, when they've gained a little momentum, it's hard as hell. It's like an NFL game. And that's my whole point is Ole Miss would have been – I think Ole Miss would beat Indiana. That's my point. I think Ole Miss would win a game against Indiana.
That's going to be the litmus test because it will all come down to, does the committee leave out 11-1 Indiana to put in an SEC school with like 3 losses?
But the truth is,
I don't know how they can.
And I wouldn't. I would not pull out 11-1 team because you've earned that 11-1. I'm a hypocrite if I do, because I said FSU should have been last year even without Jordan Travis. So I would put the 11-1 Indiana in there.
Right.
But I would also tell you, if Florida or Ole Miss or LSU played them, I would pick the SEC team because I think the SEC team has a better football team. Now, I haven't watched Indiana enough to know that probably, but I think if I did, that's what I would feel.
Well, the other thing, too, is does the committee get wrapped up in what this is going to do to the sport moving forward? I don't know that they do. I think it's simply pick the 12 best teams. And if there's ramifications from that decision in terms of how big conferences handle out-of-conference scheduling, I don't think that that's their job to worry about. And so, if Indiana gets in at 11-1 and the Big Ten has 4 and the SEC has 3, you can count this. You can count on it in February. The SEC is going to buy their way out of a lot of these games.
Yeah, and push for a bigger tournament. Those two things. We'll take a break. Let's get back to Jaguar football. Bucky Brooks joins us after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
The weekly Pick'em contest.
Is this what I think it is?
Make the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park. Pick the worst. You'll still win some pizza. Just not enough for a party. Flip a coin. Make your picks at 1010XL.com. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Best Bet is number 1. That's right. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine have one-card poker, the fastest and easiest card game to learn and play. Play one card at a time, and the highest card wins even money. If the card values are the same, it's time for war, just like the game you remember. You must be 18 years or older to play. Learn all the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen. Energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Right now, save 20% on your entire project. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires November 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
The the flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here from my friends at Beaches Dermatology. We all know summer's now gone, but that doesn't mean the sun goes away. It's Florida, right? That said, you still need to protect yourself from that bright sun. Golfing, fishing, weekends at your kids' game, or just taking care of the yard. Protect yourself and your skin. Beaches Dermatology and I want to remind you to wear your sunscreen. It's important. Holidays are also approaching, so take care of that spouse of yours with a gift from Beaches Dermatology. Call today or go online at beachesdermatology.com.
The 1010XL restaurant of the day is Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island. Enjoy Monday Night Football with freshly made pizza, burgers, wings, sandwiches, and a full liquor bar at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Googan Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our first contestant, a stay-at-home gymnast from Jacksonville, Florida. It's Gwendolyn Beers.
Thank you, Monty. I don't know who installed my air conditioner, but it hasn't had a tune-up in over 3 years. Am I cool?
Let's ask our expert judging panel. Judges? I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You're not cool. Johnny, tell her why.
That's right. To keep your air conditioner performing at its best, you need a skilled technician to check your pressures, voltages, and air filters in the fall and the spring. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, our club members get 2 free visits a year to make sure that you are cool.
Can you tell me if my haircut is sexy?
You're better off not asking.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
I'm Max Finke with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Florida State just got their second victory of the season over Charleston Southern on Saturday. The Seminoles won 41-7 over their FCS opponent, led by quarterback Luke Kromenhoek, who completed 13 of his 20 passes for 209 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Keziah Holmes punched the ball in for 2 Florida State rushing touchdowns. The Seminoles will now get ready to face a red-hot Florida Gators team this week as the rivalry heads to Tallahassee. Here's Mike Norvell on their win and getting ready for Florida.
Good to have come off homecoming with the victory there Saturday. Really proud of our guys. It was good to see some guys that rose up in moments, made plays. You were able to create a couple takeaways. You had some explosive plays offensively. It was a good game for us and gave us a little bit of a positive as we're heading into this week, which is an absolutely huge week for us.
It's 69 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The buck stops here. Time now for Bucky Brooks, brought to you by Coyle & Sons, Jacksonville's commercial fence specialist, on The Frangie Show.
And let me tell you, Coyle & Sons are the best in the business. They've been doing this thing since 1927 in town. You can call them at 904-356-4821 or log on to coiljacks.com for all your commercial fencing needs. They've got the best grade stuff. They've got the best people to do it for you, overhead doors as well. If you're a business, if it's about security, if it's about protecting your stuff, believe me, Coyle & Sons are the best in the business. 904-356-4821. Bucky Brooks joins us. Hey, I got my Bucky congratulations text on the Gators the other day. You were locked into those Gators, weren't you, Bucky?
I was locked in.
I'm telling you.
The Gators are playing well. Billy Napier seems to be figuring it out. So you got to be excited if you can get the win against the Noles.
Got to get those Noles, Bucky. Bucky, just so you know, I will not be in a good mood Sunday if that doesn't happen, just so we're clear. So there's that. I want to be clear about that. All right, Bucky, Jags have a week off. If ever a team needed to catch their breath, it's this Jacksonville team. You played in the league a lot of years. What does a week off do? I mean, do they get away from it a little bit? Do they clear their head? I mean, what's the value of having a bye week, even if it's a little bit late here?
I thought it was interesting listening to Doug talk about it at the press conference, talking about getting everybody out the building, just the negativity that was kind of surrounding the team and how they just all needed to kind of check out. And I do believe that is a good way to describe it. Look, there's a lot of negative energy. Whenever you lose, and you lose as many games as the Jaguars have lost at this point, it does feel like a kind of a downer in the locker room and around it. And then when you have the conversation that is kicked up, whether it's talking about replacing the coach or the general manager, there's a lot to kind of process and deal with while you're still trying to be professional and lock in on your job. So I think for the players, the coaches, and everybody, you kind of needed a week to get away from it, to kind of refocus and reset. And if you're Doug Peterson, when the players walk back into the building today, it's about how can we make this a 6-game season? How can we finish this the right way? Let's focus on playing our best this week. So let's take it a day at a time and see what it looks like at the end of 6 weeks.
Bucky, could you see some changes to how the in-game operation looks? Doug obviously said that, yes, there are changes, but I don't really want to make those public, which, certainly you understand. But do you think we'll see something like a different play call, anything that you can think of, maybe a shake-up defensively in how the in-game operation goes?
So what I think will happen is you have to evaluate everything, right? So normally during this time of the week, you do a self-scout. You do a deep dive into what plays are good, what plays are bad, what personnel groups were the best, who we want to play, how can we change it up. I think they did an extensive self-study. They probably took a handful of concepts that are really good. They probably narrowed down and, hey, whenever we're in these personnel groupings, we've had our most production. Let's try and kind of keep the main thing. Let's play our best groupings with our best players, run the best plays, and see if we can get back on track. In terms of like a major change, I can't anticipate a major change happening because if it was going to happen, they probably already should have done it. When you're sitting at 2-9, you kind of begin to think about those things before you get to this point. I think it's really a narrowing of the focus, trying to dig into the numbers and the tape to come up with the best game plan you can come up with this Sunday.
Bucky, it was interesting. Doug in today's presser said, to your point, let's get back to things we did well earlier in the season. Maybe, and then he said maybe some things in the running game. Now, he was using that as an example, but it was interesting. That's what he said. What do they have to get back to in the running game, maybe that they're not doing now? Is it just maybe stay with the running game? Obviously, you want to get Tank Bigsby back. That's part of it because he's your downhill runner. But what would you like to see them do differently in the run game, maybe that they had done earlier in the year?
It's hard, right? Because like the running game has kind of been sporadic, right? Some games you have some good games. Other times you just had a tough time against the defenses that you face. I can't say that we've done anything really, really well, but I can say that when Tank Bigsby was healthy and running, it appeared to have a little more pop. With Travis Etienne, he is really good at running to the edges, so maybe incorporate some of those things. Right. The main thing is getting everyone on the same page. And, Frank, I don't care if it's just one run concept, whether it's power or zone or whatever. Let's find something that we can run really well, right, and let's run that over and over and over again until we can build some confidence to expand the playbook. When you're losing and you don't have a lot of confidence, a lot of times you want to reduce what you're doing to start to build confidence by doing the little things really well.
If Trevor Lawrence is practicing on a bonus Monday, would that be a really good indicator for you that he's going to be active against the Texans?
I can't say that he's going to be active, but I think it's a good sign. So, there are a couple of different ways that the Jags could have approached this, or Trevor Lawrence could have approached it. Trevor Lawrence could have looked at the record and be like, you know what? Y'all catch me in 2025. The fact that he hasn't done that speaks volumes about his football character in terms of wanting to be out there with his guys and competing. It also suggests that maybe he is close to playing. And after seeing what the offense looked like without him, I think we all can confidently say we need number 16 in the lineup to have a chance to be able to win and to kind of get on a roll. So if he's healthy and he can protect himself, I think you have to play 16. But really, I'm going to leave it up to 16 to make that call.
Don't you get the sense that he wants to play? I mean, I'll say one thing that I've always heard about him. Doug's told me about him. Others have said is he wants to be out there. I mean, you made a good point. He could have said by now, listen, we're 2-9. This is the thing I heard before. Let's have a real surgery. Let's get it fixed once and for all. Let's not risk it. And it's clear if that was how he felt, he wouldn't have been out there today, Buck. So don't you get the sense that he wants to play? I get that sense.
I 100% get that sense because why go through it? And look, we won't talk big picture stuff, but it's crazy. But the Houston Texans have done us a favor because they haven't played great. So, it's still kind of in play. It'll take a miracle and a bunch of things to happen for it to do. But we've been in Jacksonville where we've seen those things happen. And so maybe because it's a possibility, maybe he's saying, hey, look, let me give it a run and just see if I can get us going. If I get us going, I stay in there. But if it doesn't happen this week and we lose and we're completely out of it, then maybe he says, hey, I'll shut it down and I get ready for 2025.
Bucky, from your experience as a player, what kind of advantage do the Jaguars have this week against a vulnerable Texans squad? The Jaguars are coming off their bye. Houston has yet to have theirs. This is their 13th game in 13 weeks.
It would be crazy for me to say that a 2-9 team has an advantage. But what I would say is the Jaguars should be able to look at the tape and see a struggling Texans team coming into the building. That should give them confidence. Like, hey, guys, look, let's be real. This team is the top of the division, but they're struggling. They've lost games. They've had a tough time offensively. They're scuffling. Maybe this is the one to get us back on track. And if you're the coaching staff, you talk about, hey, guys, this is the top of the division. These are the guys that we have to get. We still, in a way, can control our own destiny if we take care of business down the stretch. We've been talking all year. The last 6 games really open up for the Jaguars. If you look at the schedule, the last part of the season compared to the tough part, this is when you were supposed to make a run. So if that is true, this is a great opportunity to reset the clock, start it, and let's see if we can get a dub. So I think there should be a lot of confidence from the Jags facing the Texans team that will come into the stadium limit.
Yeah, you're right about that. So it'd be the craziest comeback of all time if they make something out of this season. We'll see if it happens. Bucky Brooks checking in. Does a great job. Always brought to you by Coyle & Sons. Bucky, thanks, buddy. See you over the weekend.
Hey, man, appreciate you, Frank.
All right. Bucky Brooks checking in, as always, on a Monday. And we'll have Bucky with us on next Monday, hopefully after a Jaguars win. We'll take a break. When we come back, Hays has headlines. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
He may have started his career somewhere else, but he found his home in Duval.
Join me, Jeff Logman, for Check to Tape Tuesday on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Jack's Napa Auto Care Group.com. Go to the pros Napa know-how on 1010XL.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your holiday season stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. And check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus. For a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 5-point home underdog to the Texans. The over-under is 43.5 points. The Gators are a 15-point road favorite against the Knowles. The Canes an 11-point road favorite against Syracuse. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harrell & Harrell. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harrell & Harrell. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harrell & Harrell at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Movember is Men's Health Awareness Month, so take charge of your health and vitality at Ackerman Urology in Mandarin, Middleburg, the Beaches, and World Golf Village. For prostate and urological needs, trust Ackerman Urology. AckermanUrology.com.
Looking for a better used car shopping experience? You'll find it at Nimnick Buick GMC, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealership. With Car Bravo at Nimnick, you'll get transparent pricing, the best value for your trade, and peace of mind. And now is the best time to shop certified used cars and buy with confidence. For a limited time, enjoy rates as low as 1.9% APR on select Car Bravo certified vehicles. Only at Nimnick. Buying a certified used vehicle has never felt better. With Car Bravo, Nimnick Buick GMC can certify all makes and models. Honda, Toyota, Kia, Mazda, Ford. That's right, all makes, all models. Trading in your old vehicle? Well, don't forget who gives you top dollar for your trade. Nobody but Nimnick. So you can shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com or visit that terrific showroom right off of Phillips Highway. You want a great deal? Where do you go? Well, that's easy. Nobody but Nimnick.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 23rd.
It's Thanksgiving week, and Monahan Jewelers has the best deals in town with up to 40% off the entire store. Thousands of beautiful pieces are all on sale with fantastic prices on our entire inventory, including up to 30% off on GIA certified diamonds. We're your local family jeweler, so come visit us today and on Small Business Saturday for up to 40% off on diamond studs, engagement rings, colored gemstones, our designer brands, custom design, everything. The name you can trust in fine jewelry, Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Jacksonville's football phenoms tell us where they're heading when high school's early signing period begins. I'm Hacker, and 1010XL will tell you everything you need to know.
Brought to you by San Jose Collision and Premier Physical Therapy.
Greetings from Daytona, where a band of dreamers took a strip of beach and turned it into a proving ground. The Great American Race, where year after year, greatness is the destination.
Start your engines, let's go!
So book your experience and soak in 500 miles of history and tradition. The Daytona 500, February 16th, 2025. Secure your seats now at Daytona500.com.
Hacker here. A couple weeks back, I received an invite. Not just any invite. It was to be the guest speaker at Awaken 180's virtual town hall. Every team member was there. The owner, Paige, my coach, Kate, and what seemed like 100 people from Awaken 180. My surprise? They invited me to stay for the full town hall. They talked client successes, company goals, future plans, you name it. There was nothing to hide. They all had one common goal of how they can help people better. It was amazing to hear, and it was amazing to see how happy and team-oriented everyone was. I mean, I already knew my coach had that mindset, but I thought I had the best one. Nope, they're all the best ones. That's the beauty of being company-led, not a franchise who often only looks at the bottom line. I suppose that's why Awaken 180 is now celebrating 10 years and has helped over 23,000 clients like me, Mike Dempsey, and Matt Hayes. See it firsthand while you're losing weight with the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com. 1010XL.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
We really appreciate our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Again, give them a call, 251-1111. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you or a loved one have been injured, that is who you need to call. Wonderful people, Harrell & Harrell, 251-1111. Welcome back to the Frangie Show. We've got Frank Frangie, JJ LaSelva. I'm Hays Carlyon. Frank, let's get right to it. The Jaguars post-bye remaining opponents have a combined record of 23-45. Do you believe in unlikelihoods?
No. Here's what I will say, and I do believe this. Regardless of what changes you make or don't make, a team always does better. I don't think the Jags are going to be in the playoffs. They're 2-9. No matter what happens, I don't think Houston's going to collapse that much. But I do believe this, and I'm serious about this. Hays, I do think that when you go into another season, it's way better to go into that season having won 3 of your last 5, 4 of your last 5, 4 of your last 6, whatever, than not. I just think it does matter. Regardless of whether it's the same regime, whatever, I think it matters. So I'm not someone that believes these games don't matter. I don't feel that way. I think your fan base needs it. You're trying to sell tickets. You want to see your young players star, and you want to see them have some success. So I believe, in my opinion, these last 6 games matter. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
One of these young stars, Trevor Lawrence, back at practice today. Frank, I guess that seems like a good sign for the young quarterback.
Yeah, I think if he was going to shut it down, I said this earlier to you, if he was going to shut it down just arbitrarily, he would have done it by now. He practiced today. I think he's the guy, and I said this to Bucky a minute ago, I think he's the guy that wants to play, Hays. I think he likes playing. I don't think he wants to sit out. I think he feels like, I'm guessing he feels like, listen, if I need a surgery, I got January through July to get better. I think Trevor Lawrence wants to be on the field. I think he's always been that guy. I think he's got a little Brandon Sheriff in him. One thing I like about those two guys, they want to play, man. So I don't know if he's going to play, but I believe in all my heart Trevor's going to do anything he can to play. And the fact that he practiced today is an indicator of that.
Yeah, probably a really big next 24 hours, I would think, for Trevor to see how it responded and things like that. So Wednesday when Doug Peterson meets for the final time this week because of the Thanksgiving holiday, maybe we'll get some clarity.
Yeah, there's only 2 questions. Number one, can you injure it worse by playing? And I'm guessing if that was the case, he wouldn't have practiced today. He'd be done for the season. Number 2, can you withstand the pain? And does the pain or the fact that it still hurts affect you as a player? There's only 2 issues. Can you hurt it worse? My guess is the fact that he practiced today takes that one off the table.
Yeah, I would think so. Let's get to around the NFL. Saquon Barkley leads the Eagles past the Rams 37-20 on Sunday Night Football. Barkley finished with 302 yards of offense and 2 lengthy rushing touchdowns. Barkley's 255 rushing yards were the 9th most in NFL history. He is currently on pace for 2,151 rushing yards. That would be an NFL record.
Which would be pretty amazing in this age of the passing game. What's happened to running backs is now on 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3. You throw that little swing pass, you throw that little quick hitter. That's the running play. So there's fewer running plays because teams pass now in running situations than have for the last 15, 20 years in the league. But and I think you might have brought this up to me before. I almost feel like we're seeing a resurgence of the running back. And they got to be great. The Christian McCaffrey came onto the scene before the injury this year, and he really emerged. Derrick Henry in recent years continues to be a really good player. Now Saquon Barkley, who's always been a good player, but he's not been the first guy you talk about when you talk after a Sunday full of games because he's a running back. So I think we're seeing a resurgence of the great running back a little bit.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's been a wonderful year for them as well. Joe Mixon in Houston, who we'll see on Sunday. Let's get it to the lowly AFC South. The Titans stunned the Texans 32-27. Big day for Will Levis there, getting that win over CJ Stroud. The Colts, no match for the Lions, losing 24-6. So the Texans lead the division at 7-5, despite the loss to the Titans, while the second place Colts are 5-7. The Titans are 3-8, and the Jags in the cellar at 2-9.
And think about this. Forget the Jags for a second. The 7-5 team has a way tougher schedule down the stretch than the 5-7 team, and seems to be leaking a little bit of oil. Now, no one in the division is playing very well right now, but keep an eye on that one. As much as I'd love to see the Jags get back in it, I'm not sure the Texans have closed out the Colts yet.
Without a doubt. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what happens with this Houston season. Las Vegas quarterback Gardner Minshew will miss the rest of the year with a broken collarbone. The former Jaguar sustained that injury and lost yesterday. The Jaguars play at the Raiders on December 22nd, so I'm assuming it'll be Aiden O'Connell. Maybe you see the Raiders go in a different direction. Maybe it's, Desmond Ridder. But certainly that makes, you would think, a road trip to Vegas December 22nd a little bit easier to win without Minshew.
I totally agree with that. Could they be a player for Daniel Jones?
I would think that maybe. I mean, if Daniel Jones wants to play, start, because the word was he wanted to get with a contender over the weekend and maybe be a backup, but be somewhere where they were winning. But now you've got the opportunity maybe to step in. So we'll see. It could be Daniel Jones on December 22nd, which I would think would still be a pretty nice situation for the Jaguars. But we'll see. Week 12 wraps tonight with an exciting game. Ravens at Chargers, the Harbaugh Bowl, with significant playoff implications. Baltimore is 7-4, while the Chargers are 7-3.
Yeah, Baltimore is an odd. I thought Baltimore was one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the league. So it's a 7. They've limped into that 7-4 in my mind. So it's a big game for them, and the Chargers have refound themselves. And I think the fact that the Harbaugh game, it'll get great ratings. It's the Harbaugh game. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. Let's get to college football. The Gators upset 9th-ranked Ole Miss 24-17, beating ranked teams in consecutive weekends for the first time since 2008. Florida is now 6-5 and bowl eligible.
Yeah, it's amazing the way the tide has turned for the Florida football team and the way they have found some momentum starting, as you said earlier in the program, with that off week. Look, they're playing really well right now. That was one of the most important games in Ole Miss history. Ole Miss came in there double-digit favorite with the coach that everybody wanted to have be the Florida coach. They came in there with a future NFL quarterback who's really good, and gosh, was he good on Saturday. People remember those 2 interceptions at the end of the game, but my goodness, was he good before those 2 picks. Running, throwing, accurate. He missed a throw or 2, but for the most part, he was really good. And the Gators beat him. And the Gators beat him with a freshman quarterback playing on one leg who couldn't really run very much. The Gators, we've been saying this for a month now. The Gators have found something. We'll see where it goes. They should be able to beat Florida State. That'll get them to a bowl at 7-5. My guess is they're going to be a tough matchup for a bowl team because of the way they're playing. So they've certainly found something, and it's an exciting time in Gainesville. It really is.
As it is on the recruiting trail for the Gators, who flipped 4-star linebacker Ty Jackson from USC today. ESPN ranks Jackson as the nation's 54th overall prospect in the country. So a big pull. Jackson is a Florida kid, so he was committed to the Trojans. Flips, goes to the Gators. Billy Napier not done, then adds receiver Muiz Tonkara and offensive tackle Jahari Medlock. Florida has gone from 51st to 18th the last couple weeks on the 24/7 sports rankings.
Yeah, if they get into the top 10, 12 after the season they've had with the amount of young players that are already on that team. By the way, you see someone plays Miles Graham made the other day? Miles Graham should be an All-American.
Particularly on the
fourth down
Pegues
play.
Running it.
Cam Jackson got there first, but Graham,
they were 12-12 running that play with Pegues this year.
3 times.
In Florida, it was unbelievable.
But Miles Graham, of all those young guys,
great player.
He's gonna be an All-American. I mean, he looks like Derek Brooks to me. I mean, so there's an awful lot of young players already there, and doing well in recruiting helps too.
Without a doubt, the Noles crush Charleston Southern 41-17 to improve to 2-9. True freshman Luke Kromenhawk got the start, played well, and will continue. Mike Norvell confirmed today Kromenhawk will start against the Gators on Saturday. By the way, kickoff is 7 p.m. on ESPN2.
Did you see the broadcast team?
Yes, I've never heard of any.
It's 3 people I've never heard. I've heard of everybody.
Yeah.
I've heard of. I can't imagine there's 3 ESPN broadcasters that I have not heard of. I've not heard of either one. That's amazing to me. Look, FSU can't save their season. It's the worst season in school history among those. But you can't control anything up until now. This is a big night for FSU. They're a 13-point favorite, not a 30. I'm sorry, they're a 13-point underdog, not a 33-point underdog. Weird things happen in rivalry games. If Mike Norvell is a pretty good coach and just had one horrible year, then FSU will play their hungriest game of the year. It'll be. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to watching that game. I think the Gators are better. I think the Gators are going to beat them, but there's a little intrigue to the game because of Chrome and Hawk, because of the rivalry, all of it.
Absolutely. The Canes cruised past Wake Forest 42-14 to improve to 10-1.
Yeah, they're pretty good, JJ. I know you were nervous, and I get it. You're nervous this week, too. Your fans are supposed to be nervous. They're pretty dang good, though, bro.
Yeah,
really
the defense actually finally played well. I know it was Wake, but they have that weird slow mesh that is just annoying. But, yeah, finally they shut out a team in the second half, and they held them to under 200 total yards. It was really good to see the defense finally do something. I know it was Wake, but hopefully that carries on to next week.
I'll tell you this, by the way. I think they're going to beat Syracuse. And so I think a Miami SMU
that would be fun.
That's a nice game, man.
That'd be like 40-59 final.
Yeah, the ACC doesn't get credit for anybody ever getting excited about their championship games like they do the SEC and others. That'll be a fun
Especially
game.
because it might be win and get in.
Yeah, right.
And
Well, that's
loser
right.
goes home.
Well, that's right. That's a great point. It might be, and my guess is if they both win this week, they're both in no matter what happens in that game. But it should be a heck of a game.
And anytime you get that SMU logo in your game, that's
ratings bonanza.
They do have
That's
great
bonanza
uniforms, man.
Georgia wins in unimpressive fashion over UMass 59-21, led by just 10 early in the third quarter before pulling away. But didn't matter. Georgia does get a win, and the league fell apart around them. The Bulldogs clinch a spot. In another SEC title game, they will face the winner of Texas A&M.
Yeah, having said that, is the Tech games on a Friday? I know you love
It's
those,
on a Friday.
I know you love those Friday games.
At 7, I believe.
Is that game sticky?
It could be because of the way Tech plays. Yeah, I mean, physical, run the ball, slow down.
I mean, Tech's 7-4. They're not. We're not.
They beat Miami.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming in. This isn't a.
Like Hays said, they'll just hold the ball.
Yeah,
and
no,
run
I
it
think
down
it's.
your throat.
I think the line I saw is 19.5. I would take Tech in the points.
Yeah, I think Georgia will beat them. It's a 7:30 game, by the way, on Friday night.
Yeah.
Is it in Athens?
It's in Athens. I think Georgia's going to beat Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech. It'll be interesting. It'll be a fun game to watch.
You want to talk about the ultimate curveball?
Yeah, no, right. And I don't think they can beat them.
I think they can, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. It'll be fun. The stunner of the weekend was 5-loss Oklahoma making easy work of Alabama, 24-3. The Tide ran for just 70 yards, and Jalen Milroe was intercepted 3 times. Alabama now 8-3. In their first year under Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, I wonder, and listen, it's only his first year, and I think he's a good coach. But it's been a while since they've had 3 losses this early. I say early, but I mean, period. But without one of them being that Auburn game at the end of the year, the SEC is going to be very interesting moving forward. Who's going to have momentum moving forward? It's a brutal league, but it's going to be very interesting. I watched a lot of that game. I couldn't believe my eyes. And again, to me, it wouldn't have affected the outcome necessarily, probably not. But the missed call on the Ryan Williams touchdown has to be addressed by the league. It was one of the biggest stories in college football over the weekend. It really was.
Great point. And Ryan Williams, what a player.
What a player. And what a play that was, by the way. We never got to talk about it because the call was so bad. How he caught that foot down in bounds, I'll never know. And caught the ball was amazing.
It really was. Let's get to college basketball. Florida defeated Southern Illinois 93-68 on Friday night to improve to 6-0. Elijah Martin hit a whopping 8 threes, scoring 32 points. The FAU transfer also had 9 rebounds and 5 assists. The Gators had 25 assists as a team in the game. So magnificent ball movement.
Yeah, they might be really. They might be really good. I mean, this might be a really, really good. Might be a really, really good Florida basketball team. They're going to be 7-0 if they win Thanksgiving Day for the first time in the post-Billy Donovan era.
Yeah.
So is that?
That's crazy. Crazy to think. Another college basketball note. This just came in. JU loses in overtime against Mercer, 90-89. The Dolphins had a 10-point lead at the half, but just couldn't close them out.
Yeah, that stings. And JU's got a good team. They had that big win over Virginia Tech. They also had a 4-point lead with 30 seconds to play and 32 seconds in regulation. I don't know what happened because we were doing the show, but they were up by 4. They led the whole game. Led the whole second half. had a 10-point lead at half, 10-point lead late in, or midway through the second half. They led by 4 points, Hays, with 32.1 seconds left in the game. And Mercer got it to overtime and then beat him by 1. So a tough loss for the JU basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will get you out on our musical note of the day. Today we're doing a musical tribute. We lost game show host extraordinaire Chuck Woolery at the age of 83 over the weekend. Known best for an 11-year run on Love Connection, as well as the host of Scrabble, Woolery was also the first host of Wheel of Fortune before being replaced by Pat Sajak. Here are the Beastie Boys paying homage to Woolery back in 1989 with their song, Hey Ladies. Listen to the lyric. I date women on TV with the help of Chuck Woolery. If there's a better lyric out there, I don't know it.
There's not. That is magnificent. Well done as always. We'll be back to wrap the program after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
College football will be heading into rivalry week with many teams closing out their regular season. The Ohio State Buckeyes, ranked number 2 in both the AP and the College Football Playoff Committee rankings, are the best bet to win the national championship of the 12-team playoff. Ohio State at plus 260. Georgia, not even ranked in the top 5, but will be playing in the SEC championship game. They're plus 375 to win the national title. Oregon, who got all 61 first-place votes in the AP poll, are also plus 375. Texas is at plus 450, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are at plus 1,500 to win this year's national championship. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
The last thing you want to be dealing with this holiday season is a septic emergency. Plan ahead and schedule to have your septic tank pumped out now. Our wonderful team at Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is standing by and ready for your call. We'll get your septic tank pumped out right away, giving you one less thing you have to worry about this holiday season. Check out our reviews online and give us a ring today. 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. When deciding what lawyer to trust with your car accident or injury case, the most reliable way is reviews and results. You want to be treated well, and you want a great result. Woolsey Morecambe's reviews speak for themselves, and I challenge any firm to compare results. We offer the resources of a large law firm and the customer service of a boutique practice. If you want to be treated right and want great results, call Woolsey Morecambe at 1-800-WOOLSEY. Offices, Jacksonville.
Post Game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say, "What? Huh?"
I'm so over this.
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this.
Call State Farm agent Scott Hobson in Ponte Vedra at 479-9000.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval! Prize, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval? That's right, man. I really identify with Duval. You live in St. Johns County, knucklehead. I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up. The boss. Because, of course, oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me. That's just not true. What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss." Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you. Go find yours. They may even make you a boss. I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash. Where more is better. And you got that right.
Joe C. for Blossman Gas. They've been providing hometown service and the comforts of propane to home and businesses since 1951. Imagine movie night spent around glowing gas fireplace logs, cookouts in the backyard with your propane grill, or laundry done faster with your gas dryer. Blossman has a wide variety of gas appliances to fit your needs. Propane delivery, gas appliances, and a full-service team. Blossman Gas is your local company for everything propane. Blossman Gas, log on, blossmangas.com, and check out the Blossman difference.
Big Chief Tire offers affordable quality tires for every type of vehicle. Frank Frangie here. Whether you're looking for all-season tires, high-performance options, or something more budget-friendly, Big Chief has the perfect set to keep you rolling. Their expert technicians ensure your tires are installed quickly and safely so you can drive with confidence. Visit WeKeepJacksRolling.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment and check out their unbeatable tire deals today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
She's seen and heard all over 1010XL's video and social channels.
Whether the big cats are at the bank or on the road, I'm there too. Follow my updates all season long, on air and online.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Jags fans, looking for the perfect activity around the holidays? We've got you covered with the inaugural Teal Trot 5K. The race takes place outside Everbank Stadium, Saturday, December 21st. We can't wait to see you there. Your registration includes the 5K, a throwback Jaguars headband, and a ticket to the December 29th game against the Titans. Visit jaguars.com/Teal Trot to sign up today.
Grab your lucky spot on the couch, because traditions make Sunday easy to enjoy. Bud Light, easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024. Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer. St. Louis, Missouri.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barra here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barrier Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to barrierorthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barrier Orthopedics.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here. Beaver's annual Black Friday silent sale. Every car on the lot will be discounted so low, we can't even show the prices on TV. Doors open at 6 a.m. Friday. First come, first served. And once they're gone, it's over. Plus, anyone who buys between 6 and 9 a.m. will get a big screen TV and $1,000 cash. Want more? We're giving away free oil changes between 6 and 9 a.m. The Black Friday silent sale only at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet. You don't want to miss this.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Tony Baselli chatted with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser on the drill this morning, and one of the topics they got on was watching the regression of C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans as they prepare for a matchup with Houston this Sunday.
You're exactly right. There's now a bunch of tape on C.J. Stroud, and defensive coordinators had a whole off season and understanding what he does well, where he struggles, and then on top of that, the Texans have had some issues up front, and he's getting a lot of pressure and he's taking a lot of hits. And so it's one thing to have one good year. To stack good years is much more difficult.
As many people expected the Texans to emerge as Super Bowl contenders coming into the year, the Jaguars have a shot at a morale-boosting win, especially if Trevor plays on Sunday against Houston. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, we talked some college football today. Florida's big win over Ole Miss. We look back at that and where the Gators are as they move forward. We looked at the college football playoff. It looks like the 12 teams, if there's no surprises this week or the college football the conference championship games, we have a pretty good idea who they are. We certainly talked about that. We talked Jaguar football. Will Trevor play or not? He practiced today. Bucky Brooks was here with us today, and he weighed in on that as well. And we looked ahead certainly to the upcoming week in college and pro football, and that is today's cool down. Gut right now, my gut is Trevor plays in the game. Yours not. You thought you said earlier you didn't think he was coming back at all.
Yeah, I thought they were going to shut him down because I just thought if the injury even remotely might require surgery, why would you wait to do it? But, if he's able to practice today, I still think it's a tepid confidence because he could throw. I mean, we saw it with Brock Purdy this past week. He threw Thursday. It didn't feel right. They didn't play him. Now, I think his issue is different than Trevor's for a lot of reasons. But yeah, you just don't know how he responds. But if he responds well, I don't know why he wouldn't play. Yeah. I mean, if he's playing, to me, that would tell me that surgery is off the table for this injury. And if that's the case, then yeah, he should be out there. But if surgery is an option, I think they're taking a risk by having him play through it.
Yeah, I'll say this, and Jeff Logman says this a lot, and he's right, and I agree with him. If you can play, there's something to culture and leadership and locker room appreciation by being out there and playing. It's hard when you're 2-9. When you're 2-9, everybody'd like to get out of here, but everybody's got to play. You're under contract. So when your quarterback says, yeah, I know it's been a bad year, we're probably not going anywhere. We're 2-9, but by God, I'm going to be out there with my guys. That matters, and that is kind of who Trevor is. I mean, he is that guy. So for a quarterback to say, I'm not throwing in the towel. If I can't re-injure it worse, and if I can wait, if I do need surgery, if I can wait till January, if not, I can rehab it other ways. If all that's true, then I'm going to go out there with my guys. I think Trevor's that. I think he is that guy. I think they respect that about him. And Jeff Logman makes the point on a regular basis. That matters. That matters next year. It matters in 4 years. It matters. And again, to hear a football player that played the game say it means something. So I think he's going to play. I hope so. I also hope, by the way, I wonder what the situation's going to be. Hopefully Tank Bigsby's back.
Yeah, Doug basically said today that other than Yasir Abdullah, I think everybody's healthy and ready to go. So
yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
So Gabe Davis is back.
They really should beat Houston. There's no reason for Houston to come to Jacksonville and beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars are going to have to give this one away, in my opinion, in a massive fashion.
Yeah, I hear you, but they're a 2-9 team. So I still hold on hope like you do that they're better than the 2-9 record. I still believe that, but they're a home dog in the game. I don't think the nation, the NFL expects them to win any games now. Now I hope now.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So I think they could beat Houston, and I hope they beat Houston. But I don't know that I feel like once you're 2-9. I don't think there's many games I feel like Hays well, they should win this one. I don't know that I feel that way. Even when they start, even the Titans have a better record than them, So now they could win them, and certainly all the points you've made about Houston are right. They're leaking oil. It's been a long year for them with no breaks yet. There's everything set up for the Jags to pull the home upset. But I don't know that I'm totally confident they're going to, or that they should.
Well, I just think that if you really are still engaged in the season, which they say they are, of course, then to me, this is a game that you should get. You've had 2 weeks to get ready. Houston is running on fumes. And really, even from a matchup standpoint, I think it favors again, assuming Trevor Lawrence plays.
You're saying assuming Trevor plays. Yeah, I get that.
The Jaguars have every bit as much talent as the Houston Texans. Every bit as much talent.
See, that's the whole question about them. I've said what you just said. I've said all year long. I've said all along. I believe this is a way more talented team than their record. But at some point, their record's 2-9. Now maybe they could. Now again, it skews in my mind a little bit because the most recent game I saw, they got blown out where they played everybody else a close game. I will say this: the one thing I do worry is I've misassessed their talent some. But I don't believe this is a wildly talented team that has just been poorly coached, so they've lost 9 of their 11 games. I think everybody's culpable. The coaching's culpable. The roster's not as good as I thought. So I will say this. The one thing I do concern myself about, I was wrong about their lines of scrimmage. I got that part wrong. I think their 2 edge guys are very good players. Other than that, I think their line has really struggled. I think the offensive line has not been very good, and I thought it would be better. I think the interior of the defensive line has not been good, and I thought it would be better. And I feel for him because Devon Hamilton's trying to make it back, and those young guys are trying to. But I think usually in football, man, if you're not winning the line of scrimmage very often, you're not winning very many games. I thought about this. The Steelers lost that game the other night to the Browns. The Steelers probably should have won the game. They were up late. That'd have been 9-2. They're 8-3 as it is. I still don't think they're very good at a lot of spots, but they generally win the line of scrimmage. And in that game, they didn't, and that's why they lost the game. But I watched the Eagles. The Eagles win that damn line of scrimmage. There's teams that they win that. They go out and win the line of scrimmage, and I'm not sure the Jags have done that very often. I maybe in the early part of the year. So yes, they're talented on the guys you see with the ball, on the guys you see covering the guys with the ball, on the guy you see throwing the ball. The Jags have a talented team. But I don't know that they're nearly as talented on the line of scrimmage as at least I thought they were going into the season.
Well, there's no reason the Jaguars shouldn't be able to get after C.J. Stroud. He's been sacked 39 times this season. He's basically shell-shocked when you watch him. He's having a very poor sophomore season. 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. But it all comes back to the fact he's running for his life. So if C.J. Stroud operates with a clean pocket for most of Sunday's game, that will be incredibly disappointing because Houston had a bad line to start the year. It's been decimated by injuries, and the quarterback has no belief right now that he's going to get the time to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, and I hope you're right. I hope you're right. But it's still, at least for today, it's a 7-5 team versus a 2-9 team. And I hope, but I want you to be. I'm rooting for you to be right on this one. But I hope the Jags. Look, wins are more fun. The last half of the schedule, the last 6 games of the schedule, are significantly different than those first 11 games. Significantly different. Again, I'm not making excuses for them, but that was when they didn't get off to the great start, you knew that 4-game gauntlet against those NFC teams was going to be a bear. You knew it was going to be a bear. It was, and it just was. And listen, they hung around until they got blown out by the Lions. So we'll see what winds up happening. By the way, are we convinced now, no matter what, that Trent Baalke, Doug Peterson, anybody, there's no job change until the end of the year?
I'm not convinced, but I don't know at this point what
it would sure seem that way.
Good it would do, yeah. So I would think that you get to Black Monday and then you make your decision.
Yeah, I would think that if something was going to happen, and who knows, that it would have happened by now. It would have happened in the early part of the bye week. And again, the narrative comes up, and in fairness to Shad, the narrative came up everywhere that something was happening. Something was happening, almost to where, not just here, Hays, nationally, everywhere, we just kind of assumed it was almost like fact. It was so in the universe that it was like fact. And I'm sure Shad's thinking, I never said that to anybody. I don't know where you guys got this. Because I never said it. And I don't know that, but I'm saying, you know what I mean? So where are you guys getting this Rappaport and this and local and national and well, let's just, and then even after the fact, Jeremy Fowler, all these guys are writing, they were shocked. Well, I'm wondering if Shad's thinking, where's that coming from? I don't know,
I don't think they conjured it.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, but that's just it.
I think it's a waffling organization. I think they decide one thing and then 30 minutes later it's like, but maybe we'll do this.
Yeah.
I think it's an ownership issue.
Yeah. All right. We'll wrap the program tomorrow. We'll be back, same bad time, same bad channel. Rick Ballou is next for Hays and JJ.